This season of Truly Independent is supported by the Help Them See Foundation. Help Them See is a nonprofit dedicated to supporting feature films that inspire faith, hope, and connection. By partnering with filmmakers, the Help Them See Foundation brings meaningful stories to life and shares them with audiences worldwide, making a lasting cultural impact through the power of cinema. Learn more and discover how you can be part of the movement by visiting helpthemseefoundation.org. Welcome to Season 3 of Truly Independent. I'm Garrett Batty alongside my co-host Darren Smith. Each week, we'll go in-depth with guests, industry experts, and we'll even share our own experiences, all with the goal of demystifying the independent film process. This season, it's all about the script, from the first spark of an idea to a polished final draft, breaking it down for scheduling, budgeting, and ultimately shooting. We'll walk through every step it takes to get from page to production. Welcome to Truly Independent.
Welcome to another episode of Truly Independent, where we are demystifying the indie film journey. Garrett, it's good to see you. Good to be back with you.
It's good to be back, Darren. Nice to see you. Nice to be here. Can you believe we're doing another episode?
I can, but I can't believe that since the last episode, I was in New York for 4 days. Like, time is fleeting, Garrett.
Yeah. Now, I thought, are you headed to Portugal today or tomorrow? Or?
Tomorrow morning, I leave for
Okay.
Portugal for 12 days. That's not for the film fund or anything. It's for my sanity, and because I love my wife and we like traveling together. And we have not had an international trip for too long. She's out there on a conference, so I'm tagging along. So,
Okay. Well, good. Well, thank you for squeezing this in. And with it, I was able to invite some guests, and I'm so excited to be able to talk to Andrew and Jay Huff about their film journey. They are fellow independent filmmakers. Andrew and Jay, how are you?
Doing
Good.
great. Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's so cool because I've watched a number of your episodes, so it's cool to actually be like in the screen with you.
amazing.
Well, good. Well, thank you. And where are you? It looks like you're in a cozy. You got a fireplace going.
Yeah, right.
Mountain chalet.
Yeah.
No. Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
But we had a cold snap, and so we're trying to figure out how to handle that.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize you were in Nashville. That's amazing. Okay, well, good. Well, I have so many questions now.
Yeah.
But
Right.
we've Darren, we met through ICVM and there was another event that we attended. Is that right?
NRB.
NRB. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Small fun fact: I was in a proof of concept of yours, Garrett. So that's how you first kind of crossed my radar.
Okay. Oh, were you in the? Were you with him?
Carpenter. I went to Carpenter. We were in Texas when you were doing the proof of concept, and I saw like a background actors needed, and I was like, "That sounds fun. I'm not doing anything." And so I got to go, and it was a great day. I only got to do one day, but it was a great day on set, and I really enjoyed what y'all did and everything. So it was just fun.
Did you make the cut? Did you see the proof of concept?
I haven't seen the proof of concept. Probably not, but I would,
Hey, let's roll the tape, Garrett.
I will.
Yeah, we'll have to. I'll send you a link, and you can see if you're in it.
That's the real filmmaker journey that we are aspiring to from this show, is to be an extra in a Garrett Batty project, to being
That's
a guest, Truly Independent. You've done it all, Jay.
Well, I feel like I need to return the favor. So next time you're doing a proof of concept, give me a call.
Right.
I'll
Yes.
come out
I
and
need you in the background.
run around in the background.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
That is so cool. Okay, well now, yeah, that's exciting. Okay, so I mean, enough about the Carpenter. We got to talk about your movie Dot Connor and this journey that you're on and continue to be on. And it's honestly what really kind of caught my eye and said, "Oh, we want to talk to you because you've made an amazing film and you're getting it out there."
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Can
very
you?
much.
And I guess we should probably back up. Can you just introduce yourself? Give us kind of a background as who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So we met in college at Liberty University doing creative stuff because we were both very much involved in arts and drama and have a desire to do a lot of creative things. And so
we were on a traveling drama team.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, which she is very, very good at, and I am fine at. I'm much better behind the camera.
Not much was required on that. Just a willingness to go, like, give up your weekends
Right.
and breaks to.
But I do think it's fun as a director to either do acting classes or like do something like that, where you kind of have to force yourself to be an actor for a little bit, because it gives you a great perspective on things. But so anyway, we got married, and like, kind of a long story short, like, we just have always dabbled in creative stuff. Jay's done voiceover narration of audiobooks, and I've written books and incorporated a lot of. I was in a church ministry for a while, incorporated a lot of media into that, and we would do live events. Still continue to do stage productions and stuff like that. And so when it came, when we got to the stage in our life, we were like, hey, we really want to jump kind of fully into that together. We started our production company, and I kind of always make the joke that, like, the classic, we decided to strike it out on our own and try something is related to 2020. It's always seems to be related to that. Every time I bring it up, people are like, oh yeah, that happened to me too. And so we were, for us, it was seeing sort of the turn that, I would always argue that media is never truly neutral. But I think there was a veil of neutrality that really got lifted post 2020. And from our perspective, it was really in kids media. So we have 4 children, and kids media became very difficult to navigate, because it became something of like, you can't really put just anything on TV anymore. Like, you kind of have to preview it first and see what you're going to get before you, because it seemed like there was a lot of things that were filtering into Hollywood media in particular. And so we just felt that burden, and to strike out on our own, to start our company. So in September of 2021, we launched our production company, and really wanted to focus on creating better media. And we would probably do it for all age groups, but kind of in the beginning, we really had this heart for kids media in particular. And so kind of from there, just to kind of give you the quick intro into Doc Connor, is it started as a web series, and that was kind of our first sort of original production. We did about 8 10-ish minute episodes. That was basically kind of, in a nutshell, a Christian Nancy Drew, where the mysteries she's solving are more just mysteries about life. So it's not like, she found a dead body in the backyard. It's
Wait, does that happen? That doesn't happen to Nancy Drew.
I think it is. That's Nancy Drew, the older years.
Yeah, right. Forensic files. Yeah. No, but it is the things that she comes across in her everyday life, and oftentimes they coincide with, like, what does the Bible have to say about this? How does this speak into what I'm experiencing right now in life? And so it's always like, how the Bible will always be interconnected in that show. Made it really, very edutainment. We tried to really skew it to that, almost that tween audience, because we felt like there was a lot of content out there for the younger children. But what about those, and it's probably because our kids were in that segment, like, what do you do with the 8 to 12-year-olds who still need parameters for what they're watching, and mom and dad's okay with it, but it can't always be these shows that they've already, and let's be honest, they've already watched through the entire catalog of that good show that you really liked by the time they reached the age of 8. So what do you do? So we were glad to be able to produce that web series and have it on several streaming platforms. And then it was one of those things where it's like, we wanted to go on and do a season 2, right? Because we kind of left it at a cliffhanger, and we love doing that kind of thing. We were having a really hard time actually finding funding for somebody who wanted to move on with us of creating season 2 of those episodes. And
was there support for season 1, or how did that work? Or was that just
bootstrapped? Bootstrapped mostly. We had the fortunate, we were fortunate to have sort of partially developed it with a company who was looking into getting the streaming game. Again, 2020 changed so much, because it was in development through 2020, but then it was a company that wasn't their primary pursuit, and it seemed like in 2020 everybody and their mom was launching a streaming platform, and so
Yeah.
the development really kind of slowed at that point because it was a little bit now like too much noise in the streaming platform space, and there wasn't enough to differentiate this particular platform. It wasn't the company's primary business, and so that really slowed down. But they were super gracious to us in letting us purchase the series back so that we would own it fully. And do all the contract and stuff.
And that was only 4 episodes that we did with them.
Yeah.
And so we bought the rights and everything there, down to like the paint cans and like the set dressing. Yeah. We got everything. And then we were able to, we produced the final 4 episodes, and I think we did a good job of making it very seamless.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was like a year in between.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
So like, I mean,
the kids are growing up.
Geely at 13 and now she's like 15, still trying to play, this 8th grader.
That's the tough thing about live action.
It's young.
Yeah. We did I went to a premiere last night for a film that my son had a role in. Mm-hmm. They filmed it when he was 13. They filmed it a year ago. He's 14 now, and you wouldn't recognize him. And there's kids that stand up after the movie and talk about the movie, and you go, "Were you really in it?" You're all a lot older right now. Anyway, so yes, we can relate.
But that was the thing. Like, if we were going to do season 2, we had
to do it.
It was almost like we had to do it by 2023, so we could like time capsule these children while they were still like in their teens. And just spoiler, like they're all like Geely and Ethan, they're in college this year. Lauren is deep in a career in LA, and like she is 26. Like she was 22 when she
was already playing young.
Like, she was just able to skew young, and she was just a delight and wonderful to work with.
But none of us, we all recognize how kind of, when you have 30-year-olds playing high school students, it doesn't really translate as well. So
they're a little, and they also, I think, probably relate a little less to that character. So it was. And then it just really became one of those things when you're seeing all those strikes happen, we realized that there was a huge strategic opportunity for a theatrical release in 2020, in the 2025 theatrical calendar. We knew that those films weren't going to be made. And we were like, it was one of those things where you're like, man, independent needs to get on this. They need to be making films and dropping their films in 2025. Why isn't anybody doing that? And it was like, maybe we do that. And our actors were available, and it was just a wonderful like concert of everything just kind of falling into place. We had the starting funds. Now, we did do a WeFunder to help finish like a lot of our production and post-production costs and P&A, but it was like we were gifted those production funds to be able to finish it, get those actors in there, be able to schedule it. And it was such a wonderful thing. And so we were so excited to be able
every
to
step
do
of the way,
it.
it was just like, well, let's just keep going until we run into a roadblock.
And then also, it's one of those things like, and maybe we've just become more emboldened than this. And, this is a second born child thing here, where like, if you're told no, you want to know why. And if it's not a good enough reason, maybe you try to do it yourself. And that was a lot of where I think we have continued on in this process, where like, and been able to continue going on when people say, when Fathom says, no, we want it in 2026. We're like, well, why not? And, are you the only one who can put it in theaters? Oh, you're not, because there's other ways. And you continue on in that process, and you find those ways, and you find those people, and along the way you're networking with people and really bringing the community together. And it was hard, and y'all know this, right? But like the people we have met along the way, and the people that have generously shared where they have come from, and the information and wisdom that they have, and gotten to that point in the path, and we can continue like taking that baton further on down. Like, it really is this networking community indie like environment where we're all helping each other out to try to get film, because let's be honest, like we can only do one film, well, one film in the 40 years we've been alive. I'd like to, get that a little bit shorter next time, but like, but same, like you only can do one film every 2 years, maybe one film every 1 year, which would be, goals. But it's like, still, I watch more than one film a year. And so if we can get more of the indie filmmakers that we align with, that we agree with, that we like their films, and inspire them and help them get their film to the finish line, that's just more benefit for our community. It's selfishly, it's just better for us.
Sure. Yeah.
But like, it's better for the community as well. So it's like hiding that information is just
Wow.
So to get to work with other people like you guys and learn from y'all's, paths and what y'all have learned has been just so beneficial.
I think if anybody asks what a producer does, I will refer them to the past 5 minutes of this episode. Because honestly, like looking at your mind, like just reading the way you think, and you're like, hey, here's an opportunity, there's a vacuum here, let's fill it, let's create this content, and we're going to assemble the team. It's awesome to see that. And go, that is an independent producer right there. That's so cool.
You've really highlighted the importance of the mindset of the producer, which is, I'm going to do this. Do you want to help me? Because I'm not asking you for permission. So I'm going to do this. Are you going to help me? No. Okay. We'll find someone else. No, we'll do it ourselves. No, it's an inevitable thing that's going to happen, whether you want to help or not. And that has been a consistent thing that I've found as I've worked with, people like Garrett, writer directors and other producers, of like, oh, you're going to do this with or without me. So I have to now be the one who steps up and go, I'm saying, yes, I'm enrolling in this process. I'm going to help you however I can, because if I don't say anything or say no, someone else is going to do it. And how am I going to feel in a year when it's done? So that's great. So for really quick, for my, and for the audience's sake, you guys wrote and directed and produced a web series and then turned it into, or did an additional feature film that you also self-distributed in theaters and is now, I'm assuming, streaming or fast channels or those types of things. So is that the trajectory of the last 3-4 years?
Yeah. So with the original web series, we did a lot of self-distribution there as well. We had some relationships that we were able to leverage to get onto some of these Christian streaming platforms for kids like Minnow, Yippee. These are, and then some larger ones as well, like or more generic ones like Right Now Media and Redeem TV and stuff like that. Yeah, I know. But like
to name all this.
I know, but the as I'm naming them, what I think is fun is always to see like who knows any of them, because it's like I think we all probably are pretty aware. But like with the audience, it's like what we're finding, and I think you guys maybe have found this too, is like the audience is so fractured or segmented, maybe is a better way to put it, because you could it is really kind of mind blowing to me that you could have a film or a series on multiple of these platforms that you go, well, surely like that's too much, because the person's going to see it on this platform and on that platform. It's just going to be the same thing. It's not. But really, it's different audiences for all of these, which is kind of the surprising thing, because each audience kind of finds their thing, and then that's kind of where they are. And so, even going to, it's very interesting just how that is. But with the series, it did, as Jay mentioned, it kind of took a little bit of an edutainment feel. When we made it really was an economic decision to pivot to features, because we felt like we could wrap our brains around the business model of that better, and a little bit better of like the economics of making money on features rather than episodic, especially in the streaming space. And so we were like, well, we like these characters, we love our cast. Can we do something that's more that's in line with the show, but do it as more of a straight kind of entertainment, rather than having that teaching element that the series had. And so we pivoted to that, and we released theatrically, and then the movie will release next month release theatrically in September. The movie will release on TVOD, which is transactional video on demand, next month. And then we're right now in the middle of all of the SVOD which is
Yeah.
the subscription video on demand conversations and guild stuff and all that.
Yeah.
So
we're going to AFM. We'll fly out tomorrow. So
Nice. Yeah.
Fun.
One quick question, because a lot of the listeners of the show are really good at the production, because that's what they went to school for, and that's what they have experience in. And so making the thing often for people is not the hard part. But you guys just kind of said, oh yeah, and then we talked to these 10 people and we have all these different streaming. So can you highlight a little bit of what that process was like when you're like, we have this property that we've made, this IP, and it's valuable, and so we want to go and find opportunities for distribution. What was that process like? Was it going to conferences, events? Was it direct outreach? Like what was the actual process of, we're going to get this thing that we own onto these platforms and with these different channels?
I think because we were brand new into it, right? Our business had started in 21. Nobody knew who we were. We had just started networking at that point. So I think our experience then and starting out, and any of these people who are starting out in this distribution world, this will maybe possibly be the journey that they've been on. But now when we go to distribute something else, it's going to be different, right? But in that world, when we first started, it was, we luckily had already if you finish these 8 episodes, we will put it on our channel. And our first partner was Minnow, and Minnow was interested in this IP that we were developing. And then it was just Googling all the other Christian platforms and reaching out. And unfortunately, a lot of the times, they don't answer your emails because they're like, who's Jay Huff? Who's Huff Media? Who's Doc Connor? And so it was slowly just you know how it is as a producer. You just email and follow up and try not to be annoying about it. And eventually, more and more people have come on board. And then you go to those networking events, find the people, find those streaming platforms, and put your project in the guild and try to find like people that will stream it for you and work on those, get a lawyer, find work through those contracts. And we luckily also found a partner who, some streaming platforms don't want to be directly sent a project, and that's fine. So you have to find, like, I would call it a broker. And so we had one that came alongside as like our broker and helped negotiate a few
this
of
was
these
on the
deals
original series.
with the original series. And that could be, I think there's several brokers out there. And so it's like, whatever works for your project, do your research, find out which broker works for you, and then work with that person.
Well, and I would add on the original series, what also helped in a lot of those instances were prior relationships. And so had a friend of ours who we had worked on a project for, and that person ended up at a streaming platform later when we were seeking distribution. So it was very natural to be like, she already knew us, for us to reach out. Had another where I served as a post-production producer on a documentary series that went onto a streaming platform. And so I was, as a person, as a part of that producing team, was a part of all those emails. So I knew who to reach out to go, hey, we also have this kids thing, is this something? And that they could get me in touch with who. So it's leveraging kind of all those, it's almost all of it. It's almost any like cold email, go to conferences and meet. Who's your friends that know somebody? Like, I've never found that it's like, again, how wonderful it would be to have that one place where you can just hand your baby off and it just goes everywhere. But that's never been the case. Now, what I will say, that was the process on the series. For the movie, we've been a little more guarded in terms of wanting to not have too many people between us and then that where the film gets exhibited, because there are some layers that I think tend to cut into the connection that the creator can have with the audience that exists in a lot of these places. And so that's one thing that we have kind of felt a little bit strongly about, which is, hey, if we feel like there's a little bit of like our thing will just become part of a library of products that this company is just going to like farm out to like everybody. It's like, I don't know if I necessarily want to have it be that, because I think it's a little bit more valuable than that.
Yeah.
And so,
and no, I mean, right now it's one of those things like is it more valuable as an exclusive property on somebody's streaming platform, or do we go non-exclusive and put it on a bunch of smaller ones, or do we even package it and make it an exclusive with the movie and the show? What is most valuable for that platform and what is most valuable for our property? So, I mean, those are always like those kind of questions. One thing I do want to talk about, since we are talking about production and distribution, I think it's also in leveraging relationships, right? So if you have a certain property that you want to develop as a, not necessarily a producer, but as a producer or writer, make sure you start connecting people who are always start with the end in mind, right? That's like age old advice. So if you want your property and you think it's appropriate for Netflix, well, go find a director or a producer or somebody like who has done something with a Netflix project. And then you are not only like you're paying that person to obviously do well on the project, and they'll do well because they were connected with Netflix, but then also they can then like almost talk on your behalf to Netflix and be like, hey, I already have this one project, let me talk to them. It's a little bit like what you were saying with when it was the documentary
people
that you had.
Known who I was and what I worked on,
right,
and having liked it.
Hey, you like this project, we did well on it, what about this project? And so it's doing your research of the people that are connected with your comp project.
Yeah.
So getting in there with those people as well. And I think that's something that people don't do enough work on is the research at the end.
What do we need to watch out for as independent filmmaker, kind of in these areas of distribution or even production or whatever? What are some things that that you'd say, okay, that's a red flag, that's somebody that we don't want to work with?
It's probably always in the contracts, probably. So, I mean, make sure you have a lawyer.
Transparency, yeah. People being transparent. I mean,
there's distribution contracts where you just sit on their shelf and they wait for one of your actors to become super famous. Those are probably distribution deals I wouldn't want to enter into. But
here's one I would give that, and I'll preface it. So it'll start as like a bit of advice, because I would have wanted this advice for myself. And then, but I think it leads into a common red flag, and you guys will probably know exactly what I'm talking about, which is sometimes you undervalue your own thing, your own product, where I think for us with the series early on, we were like, initially we were like, oh, well, people will pay an upfront licensing fee for this, right? And we had a couple of streaming platforms that did. And that kind of skewed our perspective a little bit in the beginning, because after that there weren't any upfront licensing agreements, and yet with the series, and fortunately we hadn't spent so much that this really impacted us too much. But on the series we were like, okay, well, we'll take we'll take the terms that are absolutely unfavorable to us, because at the end of the day, it's brand awareness. We're on a ton of streaming platforms, and so people will see it, and that will and we always kind of approached it as a potential brand rather than just a one-off kind of thing. So, it's building brand awareness, and for the next thing that comes from the brand.
For .Connor or for Huff?
For .Connor. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so with the .Connor movie, then we've been trying to go, okay, well, we're not just going to take, this is a movie that we made. Like, we're not just going to take like the most unfavorable terms just to get it out there, right? And the red flag that I would bring up is often a lot of distributors being like, absolutely, we would love to distribute your film, and it's going to be an upfront cost from you to do it.
Yeah. If you're taking those deals, let me know. I've got plenty of people that will.
Yeah. So that's where I was like,
that's an automatic no.
I'm going to pay you a pretty hefty fee to distribute my film. Like that feels that's way undervaluing my product, that I can't even, get you excited about it, having done all the work. And that's the thing. I think that sometimes it's also for producers and directors and people who are like wading into this. At least this was, I don't know, maybe there's some people out there that are like, if you've got a big enough ego, but
well, yeah, I mean,
sometimes I don't want to go, well, I don't want to go like, hey, I did all the work. So, I want to be like respectful of things. But that's the truth is as a filmmaker, if you did all this work, just have somebody be like, well, you have to pay me now to care about it. It's like, well,
Yeah, it's understandable, right? Because as a filmmaker, we want that we want our work to be well received, right? We want somebody to pay attention to it, and we have to probably counter that desire with the realization that yes, there is value in what we've created, and if they don't see that value, then we don't want that from them. We should not want that from that individual.
Right. Yeah. Right. Which it's tough because that individual may be presenting you with, hey, it's going to get on these X, Y, and Z platforms kind of thing. And you're just like, are you willing to sort of not stand your ground per se, but go, no, I value this thing and I value the work I've put into it to see it all the way to the finish line kind of thing, rather than just, again, how great it would be to hand it off.
And you could just pay money.
Yeah.
So, it's what do you want to, where do you want to put the work in? Are you willing to put the work in? If you don't want to and you want to move on to another project that might work out, that would work out for somebody else. We just, it's always worked for us up to this point. So why not keep going further on down the line?
Yeah. Fascinating. Have you found that between the series versus the movie, the feature, what are the differences in distribution opportunities?
Yeah, good question.
We're still, I think because we're so new in distributing this to the streamers and stuff like that. I mean, obviously you can't put an episode or an episodic thing in the theaters for the most part.
Sure.
And so it is like just how it's presented is even going to be different. And so, but that also, I mean, that informed a lot of the decisions that we made and how we made the movie and how we started the distribution to the theaters and those conversations. But it will be interesting because we just have so much more to present when it comes to a movie for these streaming platforms. That's always what it seems like most of the platforms do want. So it's long form media.
Yeah, so. Episodic is just hard, and I don't know if you guys have you guys done any episodic at all?
No. Not as a like an owner, not as a producer.
Yeah, episodic, and especially kids episodic. I mean, it's extremely hard to to produce, and when I say it's extremely hard to produce, what I mean is in like to the level that you want it to be. My joke is always that there's a reason why a lot of especially kids Christian content for kids is just a single person in front of a green screen, because that's like the most economic thing you can do when it comes to producing content. And so there's so many shows like that for kids, and it's because it's the economics of it. It's extremely hard to justify the cost that it would take versus then the what it would result in for the streaming platform. And I think, and honestly, I think this is true of episodic just in general, and it's fascinating. I'm curious what you guys think about this, but I think what is missing sometimes when it comes to the digital age of entertainment is you would have to spend a lot more upfront in order to then grow the audience to the degree where it starts to pay for itself, because you have to have content. And so when you're starting a platform, you need a library of things, and Disney can come out of the gate with their streaming platform, not because, they only had a couple of originals, I think they launched with it, but they had their catalog of shows. And so they have this immediate access to all of these things. Well, nobody really has that unless you are one of those bigger studios. And so you have to leverage producing new stuff, especially in the Christian space. But at the same time, it's you can't do it with a couple $1,000s. You have to do it like, and you got to spend a lot, and so I think there's
create a lot of content.
It's definitely there's definitely and everybody knows this from just film investing. There's definitely a risk aversion, and you want to be right on the business sense. And I'm talking now more about this is why I'd never get into the platform game, like trying to launch a platform, is I feel like you'd have to have like a like attractive catalog of content to launch with, and that either has to be you've already got the backlog of stuff or you got the catalog of stuff, or you're willing to take that risk and invest in creating things people haven't seen, which drives the interest to
multiple originals.
And I think, yes, I think in independent film, there's a very micro example of that. And Darren, you're doing it right now, where you've got your film that you will be shooting and releasing next year.
Mhm.
But I've already seen you placing, requests for a content creator team to create, daily and weekly and monthly marketables
Mhm.
or BTS stuff that are starting to build that audience, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, very similarly to a talking head in front of a green screen, like,
Mhm.
hey, here's cheap content. Here's a way to do it to drive people to our product,
Mhm.
which is an ugly term for what we're doing. But
Yeah.
yeah. And so whether that's a streaming network or a finished, independent film that's going to, capture an audience,
Yeah.
I think it's the same principle.
But I also think it's an essential term to use, Garrett, because part of what we do here, at least what I try to do, is break people out of this is my creative baby and you have to love it as much as I do. And it's like, but that's not how economies work. That's not how marketplaces work. Like, if you have made something creative that you value, but it's not valued in the marketplace, that sucks.
Yeah.
But if we start thinking of it way earlier on, that this is a product for a market of people, and we can start thinking about it that way from the very beginning, all of a sudden it does change the way that we make the thing, that we talk about the thing, that we start building audience and community from the get-go, because 12 months of audience growth for free on social media using content is a lot cheaper, and you can build deeper relationships with people than let's spray and pray a couple $100,000 the 2 weeks or 2 months before it comes out and hope that people show up.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
I think it's smart, Garrett, and that we keep referring to it as a product. It's not the only definition of it.
Yeah.
It's art as well, but if it's art devoid or divorced from the commerce side, we don't have a movie business. We're making vanity projects.
So then the question, and maybe this is a lead into a second episode. I don't know, but the question then becomes, what is that product, right? Is it the movie? I don't know. That's a lot to put on the movie. You say, okay, well, what are people buying now? What are people going to the theater for? Is it the movie or the experience, or what? And how can we perhaps leverage or reduce the risk of it all being in one product? If we're making advertisements, we're making commercials for a brand, right? I'm kind of getting off of my train of thought here. Then those costs are absorbed over a lot of things.
Yeah.
So if you're raising $1 million to make a movie or whatever it is, and the $1 million are for that movie, and that's your one product, then that's a lot to ask for an audience to support that, rather than, hey, we're gonna spend that $1 million to create multiple streams of potential revenue.
Well, and I kind of want to, and I know that we're going over time, but like what we did with Dot Connor, I mean, we started, if you think about it, like you got to be smart with when you have your brand or your product, because we have the Dot Connor episodes. We made a curriculum, a church curriculum, that an 8-week church curriculum that churches could use in the summertime or Christmas, whenever they wanted to, but it was based around those episodes. We made a movie. We have book series that we're currently developing. We're going to probably develop maybe a VBS curriculum. And it's and then also encourage churches to use the movie for family movie nights. We're thinking about starting, maybe an animated thing. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's one thing on a brand, but like, look at all the ancillary products. And so I think of a lot of filmmakers, if you're going to spend this much time and money to develop a movie, you need to start creating ancillary products for your fans of that movie. If it's in the pre-rollout of trying to build that awareness, but also in the back end, if somebody really does love that movie, what are the products that they are going to be naturally gravitating to that you might want to start and develop it, that you can start catching some more revenue in that way, and not have to reinvent the wheel and trying to rethink what is my audience going to want if they already like that brand.
Yes,
They create
exactly.
an ancillary product around it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you have to know your audience to know what they're going to want. I'm not going to say that your audience for The Carpenter needs a church curriculum. You know,
right.
So,
Or, yeah.
but maybe they'll want
that's what I was
some
going to bring up.
tools or something. It's like, what is it?
Just
We're gonna do it's MMA training where there's a training course.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
See?
Well, I was going to bring that up though, just as a real quick, like, to sort of affirm what you guys are talking about is, how do you do that if it's something that isn't obvious in terms of like a brand that you develop into ancillary products? Like, rather easy for us with .Connor because it is a kids brand, and there's a lot of ways in which you can develop a kids brand into a lot of different things. And but what do you do with like a drama or something that like is very, very specific to that one story that you're not going to make an animated series out of?
Sure.
Yeah. So one thing as you were talking about it, Garrett, like this just kind of, I don't know if this is an epiphany or something. You guys are going to get an epiphany in your podcast episode happening. It's going to change the film world forever.
Here it is. This is the moment. Listen in. We're leaning in.
But it's going to be brilliant.
Okay.
But I just started thinking, I was like, okay, what's the, if you're putting that money into it and it's just that one film, like, is that the thing versus, and I think there used to be a world where it was the stars, right? Like that was what you marketed. It was like, I'm not just, the movie that I'm making is just its own movie, but I'm not putting all the pressure on just the movie because I have this star attached to it that is going to help.
It's the reason why people want to go see the movie.
And in the independent space, and this is really hard to say because there's not a lot of us that are very much like this. I kind of wonder if the world we're sort of entering in is more the filmmaker, like the filmmaker is the person that people follow. It's not the brand per se of the movie itself. And the reason I bring that up in the independent space, and I'm thinking on the Christian side, but I'm sure, actually now I'm coming up with directors on the independent side, is like, that day I immediately think of that Dallas Jenkins, like constantly doing those like updates and him being the upfront person of that. Right. So it's like, what is it that made The Chosen host so successful? There's so many things that are a part of what made it successful. I don't think you could pin it on one thing or another, but really Dallas being the upfront person that's always there talking is what's helping continue that deepen that connection, Darren, like kind of like you're talking about, to that thing. And so, I kind of wonder if it's actually the filmmaker, like if people were able to recognize and go, hey, the filmmaker needs to be the upfront person, and that needs to be the person that's building that connection with the audience that then is going to benefit that film, yes, but it's going to benefit his next film because it's not like he comes out of nowhere in terms of, like, it could be a completely different film, but that director is seen, by an audience already going, oh, well, I liked his last one, and I say that as an independent person who is going to produce films that I can't attach Chris Pratt to. I'm so sorry.
Hey, don't limit yourself. I believe in you.
So
I think you're right. I think you're right. And Darren, you've talked a lot about that on previous episodes about just that the importance of building your audience, whether it's your product or you. But yes, ultimately, and it can be both, right? It can be both. I mean, you're going to combine with your actors following and whatever it is to continue to build that audience. But to go back to what you said earlier about even not letting those layers between the filmmaker and the audience who receives it get too far separated through distributor and sales agent and exhibitor. So anyway, I think you solved it. I think it's a good moment. It's a
Well, I was gonna say, I say that as a, it's awesome that you guys call your podcast Truly Independent, because it's like we're saying this from an independent filmmaker perspective. I mean, because that's kind of it right there. Is nobody's going to do that for you. Nobody's going to platform you because you're a part of a big machine like a studio is. So it is you trying to eliminate those roadblocks, and that's honestly a little bit of a challenge for filmmakers. I mean, I definitely am the kind of guy that would love to not have to get onto the live stream all the time and communicate directly with my
I think you
audience.
find a lot of directors being, a little more introverted.
Yeah.
They want to be behind the camera and like control the narrative. So that's hard.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where it's like we go to a Wes Anderson movie because we like Wes Anderson, not because, Luke Wilson's in it or something like that, or Owen Wilson's in it. So it's one of those, like, are people following the actors, or are we starting a new thing where people are following
the filmmaker? Yeah. Like I thought, outside of the Christian space, I thought Sean Baker, who won the Academy Award this last year, and like, he's a guy that I would probably say people follow him maybe more so than they necessarily follow the movies he makes, because he drives the interest in those movies, because they're all different. They're all just like, it's not a series, it's not a brand, there's no out of those. It's very, very much just this one movie he decided to make next. So anyway.
Okay, well, I look forward to the weekly updates with you in front of the camera telling us what the next adventure is for them.
It's always an outstanding to do that hasn't ever been done.
Right.
Your 24-hour live Twitch stream.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the future.
You would be so bored because it's him working at his computer.
For about 20 of those hours a day.
Yeah.
Amazing.
This has been enjoyable. You guys have been so generous with your time and the information that you've learned.
Sure.
And I love it. I think we're so aligned as independent filmmakers and just trying to support each other and build an audience and get more stories out there for that are the types of stories that we want to watch. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank y'all.
Amazing. Where's the best place for people to go and find and connect with you guys online?
Yeah, so all the stuff about the movie and the series can be found at .connor.com. And then our company is, and for .connor, all of the socials are at WebTective. And our company is Huff Media Productions, but our website is huffmediapro.com, and Huff Media Pro is all of the social handles and everything. So very easy to find us. But and we encourage both filmmakers, people in the industry, and just people interested in as audience members. We love hearing from people, and so we love people friending us on Facebook or connecting with us on LinkedIn or sending out contact things. We try to communicate with people as much as possible, because again, that's what we're trying to do is eliminate how much of a gap there is between us and people who are doing the same thing as us, or people who are excited about what we're doing. So
and we have a portal that you can submit things and questions to on huffmediapro.com. So
cool.
If you are wanting to connect with us in a deeper way.
And the movie comes out the end of this month on
next month. So in December, right in time for Christmas, the movie will be out on digital. And then
hopefully streaming will happen soon after that.
So cool. Congrats on all the success with these projects, guys. That's a huge lift, and you're doing it basically by yourselves. So great job, and congrats on all that.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll sign off. We'll see you next week. Darren, thank you. Good luck in Portugal. I'm sure we got to figure out how to record an episode from your hotel there.
It'll be my 11 p.m. and your 11 a.m. or whatever the time zone works out to be.
Perfect. Maybe we'll do a rerun. All right. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. This season of Truly Independent is supported by the Help Them See Foundation. Help Them See is a nonprofit dedicated to supporting feature films that inspire faith, hope, and connection. By partnering with filmmakers, the Help Them See Foundation brings meaningful stories to life and shares them with audiences worldwide, making a lasting cultural impact through the power of cinema. Learn more and discover how you can be part of the movement by visiting helpthemseefoundation.org. Thanks for joining us. If you are enjoying Truly Independent, please share and subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the journey. Today's episode was edited by Michael Bradford and produced by 3 Coin Productions.